Subway and bus riders are being extra vigilant this morning following another fatal incident in Queens during yesterday's evening rush hour commute.
It's disheartening because this is my neighborhood. So, yeah, carefully. You don't go to the front of the platform anymore. You watch around you like I always did.
Ever since the pandemic, it's gotten a lot worse here, and I would say there definitely needs to be something done about it.
So this latest death is the 8th on the subway since the start of the year, but the 5th incident over 2.5 weeks. Charlton D'Souza is a subway safety advocate with Passengers United, and he joins us this morning to discuss this latest incident. So Charlton, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, you spent several hours then yesterday at the Roosevelt Avenue station where that 48-year-old man died. Police have a suspect in custody, but there are some questions about what exactly happened on that crowded platform. Can you tell us what you know so far?
Sure. So a cell phone belonging to the suspect fell onto the tracks, and he demanded the other man to go get it. When the other man refused, the pair got into a fight. And during the scuffle, the suspect pushed the 48-year-old man onto the tracks. This was on the Express tracks at Roosevelt Avenue.
All right, well, set the scene for us here. How busy is the Roosevelt Avenue station during rush hour? I mean, has anything like this happened before?
Craig, it's a very busy station. I can tell you, millions of people pass through there each day. It's one of the busiest hubs in Queens, actually, because it connects, with the Q70 bus, and it connects with a bunch of bus routes.
So are transit cops usually there?
Yes, there are transit police there, but the problem is you have the upstairs level for the 7 train, and then you have the EF, R&M that runs downstairs. So at times, there'll be 2 or 3 police officers, but because of the crowding, and that station has a lot of problems with pickpocketing, sexual assaults, robberies in general, and there's been a lot of 12-9s at that station. 12-9 meaning a person hit by a train, whether it's a suicide. I think a few weeks ago, a person got hit there by a train, and that was a suicide.
All right, well, that's one station, but there have been a series of unprovoked attacks and fatal incidents on subways and buses in recent weeks. A crime on public transportation is up nearly 42% from the same time last year, even though there are less riders and more cops. So, I mean, what exactly is causing this increase?
Well, in our city right now, we have a mental health crisis going on. That's number one. Number two, because of many of the laws, the state laws and the changes that were made with the criminal reform, what we're seeing is a lot of violent criminals are being released back onto the street. So, right now, people are mugging people on the subway, and before the paperwork is done at the police precinct, many of them are getting out. And these are people with violent criminal histories. They've been arrested 30 times, 40 times, and it's just been a mess out there.
Now, have you actually been attacked before while riding the subway or the buses?
Yes, I was actually punched in the face. The first time it happened was in November 2 years ago. I was on an F train. I was at the Union Turnpike station on the train. The doors opened, and the man came in. And when he came in, right away I sensed, he was off. He was an EDP. But, I just moved away from him, and then he came up to me by the door, and he punched me in the face. So, I ended up following him out of the station, and I had to call 911. And when they came, they told me, don't file a police report. We're just going to take him to the hospital for a psych evaluation to get checked out. But the second time I got assaulted, a woman threw alcohol in my eyes on a bus because I asked her to put a mask on.
So what have you done differently since then to basically protect yourself or to stay safe?
I try not to engage people. I have to, analyze them now. But you can be assaulted anywhere. Anyone can be assaulted at any time. The only thing you can do to make things safer, and this is, a suggestion for subway passengers, is you want to be riding in the middle car by the conductor. Now, when I was assaulted by that first individual I told you about, I was in the last car. Big mistake. Don't do that. And also never stay in the middle, or by the conductor in the middle, or by the train motorman in the front. because like that you can get help faster.
Okay.
All right. Well, Charlton, you know, I mean, there's a city above ground, but of course there's a city underground. About 3.6 million people ride the trains and buses every day. And of course, many of them don't feel safe, even though the city's added surveillance cameras, more transit cops, mental health teams. I mean, what does the MTA and the city need to do to address these concerns?
So at Passengers United, we attend all the MT board and committee meetings. I speak to MT management pretty much, I would say, weekly or, you know, every other day. I'm calling them up. We requested the subway cameras. We kept talking about that, and the governor finally gave us the subway cameras. So we're very happy about that. However, it's going to be 2 years before they're installed in all the subway cars. So what we've been calling for at Passengers United is to have 2,000 property protection agents riding being in the subway stations, but also riding the trains. And the property protection agents are the men that you see who take cash out of the MetroCard vending machines. They're actually armed. They have licensed guns, and, you know, they're trained professionals.
Yeah.
But right now, the minimum wage security guards we have.
Yeah, and I think bottom line is the solutions are always going to take some money, and it's going to be up to the city to find those funding.
Yeah.
Charlton, thank you again for being here with us this morning. We always appreciate your insight.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right,
Great to be on PIX11.
Stay safe.
All right. Some good information there.